All right. We're live. Hello. Let's see if I get a notification. We got one. Well, got one on here. Just whoever you are, we can chat it up. Hopefully more join. Let's see here. I haven't got a notification on Facebook yet, so maybe I'm not live there. Rumble, I don't know. YouTube, are you there? Come in, Tokyo. Yes, hello. Around Lowtown on YouTube. What's up? Well, here we are. Hey, Patricia, welcome. Get in here, you guys. Let's do this. It's Friday, May 31st. Our democracy is at stake. Okay. The Democrats love to use the word democracy. Well, you guys did it. Congratulations. You really, you crossed the Rubicon here. You did something so unprecedented with democracy that will never be the same as a nation. Okay. Ever. Yeah, we said lock her up, but we didn't lock her up. Okay. You guys are actually going through with it. Okay. You want to talk tyranny. You want to talk dictators. Got one in the White House right now. Okay. We'll go into detail on all his dictatorish moves. But here we are. Oh my gosh. Okay. And let's just be honest. I had a feeling this was going to happen. I did. I mean, from the get-go, it was just like, you got this radical activist judge whose daughter is raking in millions. We're talking millions and millions for the Democrats. It's fundraising. This dude should have recused himself immediately from this case. He didn't. Okay. Then they pick a jury in like blue Manhattan. Okay. Okay. And listen, this is where we're at. If you don't like Trump, people don't like Trump. I know people that if you say Trump, they just are like they can't. Everyone has an opinion at this point. Everybody has an opinion. So you're not going to get a jury that's like unpartisan or just not biased or has no, they had this sealed and dealed way back. I mean, this was a done deal. So was I surprised? No, I wasn't surprised. I was like, of course, this is what dictators do. This is what fascists do. This is what tyrants do. This is what we've been living under for the last 4 years. I mean, can we talk about the pandemic? Can we talk about what they tried to do to us? Tried to force us with injections or else we lose our jobs. I mean, that's tyranny, okay? And the Biden administration tried to use OSHA to force people to inject themselves with unknown substances or else they lose their jobs. You had to put something on your face that did absolutely nothing or else you couldn't walk into certain places, okay? Fascism. This guy in the White House is putting men in women's locker rooms, forcing our daughters to be next to guys full on happy. Okay. So that's dictatorship. So it shouldn't surprise anybody that the dictator went after his political opponent. That's where we're at. And I've been saying it for 4 years. I've been saying it for 8 years. I've been warning and sounding the alarm. These people hate this country. They hate individual liberty. They don't want you to have the right to say what you want for your own body. They want to tell you what to do. They want to tell you what to drive. They want to tell you what to wear. They want to tell you how to raise your children. They want to raise your children. They want to mutilate children. They want infanticide. These guys are psycho, crazy nut jobs, completely hating God, anti-God. They think they're gods. And as they celebrate, as they, do their shots and party, there is a God in heaven, and he does have an opinion. he just, I went to bed last night smiling because I thought, not for a moment was God like, oh no, this is, oh no, I did not think this was going to, he sees it. He sees the plotting. He sees the corruption. He sees the demonic forces behind these people. He sees it all. He sees it all. And he's sovereign and he's seated on the throne and he's righteous and he ultimately has the final say. Okay? He has the final say. So if you think it's okay to mutilate children and you think infanticide's okay, you got to stand before God. And if you think the people that you support are doing the right thing, you're going to have to stand before God at some point. It's going to happen. Okay? This is not just all by chance. And as I've always said, nothing that happens in an election year is coincidental. Nothing. Okay? Do you guys remember 2020? Okay, let's back it up. Do you remember 2020? It was like, I think it was like December 2019. And I did a live and I was like, yeah, there's this thing. It's like the Wuhan something. It's happening in China. Don't know if it's gonna, I don't know if it's gonna develop. I don't know if it's gonna, anything's gonna happen for it, but just keep your eye on it. We'll see. I said that. I said that. And then look at all that ensued. This has been planned. Okay. All of it is planned. The problem is Democrats are far ahead of Republicans. They just are. These guys are calculating, I would say 2 years out right now. I mean, that they hate democracy. Okay. They hate free will. They love power. The thing with power is it's never satisfied. Power is never like, okay, we're good. Power wants more and more and more and more and more until it's absolutely corrupted. That's where we're at. We have the Democrat Party who has been completely, infiltrated by far less leftist communists. I mean, these guys hate any individual rights, anything that you putting any kind of block on the government invading into your life. They hate that. They hate it. Okay. So they're coming for you. That's what they want to do. They want to control every aspect of your life, every single aspect, because it's control, it's power. And they do that through fear. I mean, look at what they did in 2020. It was fear. Once you get people to be fearful, they'll do anything. They're like, okay, yeah, well, okay, we'll do that. Well, we'll do that. And then they'll start reporting on their neighbors. And then they'll start canceling people. And they'll start telling people that they can't come to some birthday parties or they can't celebrate with you because we're fearful. And it gets nuts. Okay. And these people love control. They love power. They love it. They love it. And they have someone, a political opponent, that wants to give the free will back to the people. No, he's a tyrant. He's going to be a dictator if he gets elected. Just wait, I got a wonderful satire coming on that one. Let's talk dictators. Let's talk what the Biden administration has done. Let's just remember when Trump was president, he let you do you. He didn't come after you and tell you that you had to put a mask on your face or you had to inject yourself with something that you didn't want in your body. He was strong on supporting women and women's sports. I mean, these people hate women too. They hate women. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about the party that hates women? The Democrat Party. They hate women so much that they can't even identify. They won't even identify what a woman is. They'll tell you that a biological man is a woman because they hate women. Okay. It's so backwards. It's so messed up. And the problem is people have gotten so deranged with Trump. They've gotten so fired up and fixated on Trump that they haven't stepped back and looked at what the other side has done. Okay. Let's just name off some things. He has forced Biden, to pay other people's loans. Okay, that's where we're at now. You are now being forced to pay someone else's loans through your tax dollars because let's remember, the government uses your money. The government doesn't just make its own money. It doesn't have some like little business going on here. They take your money and they give to somebody else. That's what they're doing. So That's something a dictator would do. A dictator would come in and take your money and give it to somebody else, right? Because you have no rights. Um, uh, they've weaponized our justice system to go after their political opponents. That is what we just witnessed yesterday. We witnessed it yesterday. We saw and people are like, well, Biden had nothing to do with it. Biden is so far removed. It was all, NYC involvement. DC had nothing that's just absolutely false. The Biden administration gave a presser just a couple days ago outside the Manhattan courthouse. Okay, tell me you're not involved by telling me you're involved. Like, that is exactly what happened. So it's like, yes, they're involved. They went after their political opponent. Now, if you're okay with this, dude, move to Cuba, move to China. Seriously, pack your bags and go live in a banana republic dictatorship, because that's not what America is supposed to be. If you're cool with that, seriously, go live in China, honestly, because that's what they do there. I mean, they just go missing. Any political opponents to the guy ruling just disappears. That's what they're trying to do here. And you shouldn't be okay with that just because you have Trump derangement syndrome and you hate him. He's just so arrogant, and he's just so full of ego. And he said something almost 20 years ago that was just so repulsive. So I'm fine with a dictatorship. I mean, do you know how stupid you sound? Honestly, just put a pause on it and think about what just happened yesterday. Nobody should be cool with it. Nobody. We don't even know what the charges are. We're going to talk about that in a second. What else has Biden done? He's forced, like I said earlier, forced agencies to inject you with something you don't want in your body. He used OSHA. Look at that. And it was turned down. It was stopped. But he tried to force you to put something in your body that you don't want, or else you can't feed your family. That's what a dictator would do. What else? He shut down small businesses if they don't comply. They were shutting down small businesses. I know people that literally shut down forever. Couldn't make it. That's what a dictator does. That's what a tyrant does. He's eliminating women's sports. I don't know if you haven't paid attention, but they're all in on men competing in women's sports. Now, men are men and women are women. That's the truth. Now, you can live in your own world and you can but biological science, and I believe in science, male and female. Okay. Oh, that's just so offensive. No, it's not. I'm a Christian. I'm allowed to say it. I have my free speech right to say it, to speak the truth. And it's so offensive, but let it be so. Okay. He went after Catholic nuns for not wanting to comply with what he wanted to do. That's what Biden did. Okay. He's going after Catholic nuns. That's what a tyrant does. That's what a dictator does. He's forcing your daughters to change next to men in locker rooms. That's what a dictator does. That's what a tyrant does. He's raided homes of his political opponents and is locking them up. If you're paying any attention to January 6th and all these people that were protesting, and it got a little out of control, and we know why it got a little out of control. We know who was there. We know who infiltrated the crowd. We know it all. I mean, we're not idiots, okay? And now he's locking these people up for protesting an election that they believe was stolen. He's locking them up. They're in jail right now. He has signed more executive orders than any president, Biden. Okay. He's telling you what to wear. He told you what to wear. You couldn't go on government properties without putting a piece of cloth that doesn't do anything across your face. Telling you what to wear. You know who tells you what to wear? Middle Eastern countries. They tell you what to wear. They tell women what to wear. That's what dictators do. That's what tyrants do. That's who's in the White House. allowing babies to be murdered at full-term gestation. That's what tyrants do. That's what tyrants do. So that's the tyrant. You guys are being gaslit. These people I know, they're like, you're gaslit. You're watching Rachel Maddow having a complete on television because she's so happy about Trump. Like, you're being gaslit. And if you're watching the mainstream media, you are deceived. You're deceived because the tyrant dictator is actually in charge right now. And he's locking up his political opponents. That's happening. This was a 9-year-old case, you guys. 9 years old. What a coincidence. Isn't it a coincidence that they took a 9-year-old case and they tried it right before a presidential election? That's just such a coincidence. Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? Paying someone off is not a crime. It's not a crime. It's not a crime to pay someone off. Hey, I don't want you to talk about this. It's not a crime. And listen, I'm going to address this because people are like, oh my gosh, it was a porn star. Like, how is you a Christian? Can you be okay with Trump? Any involvement with a porn star? Like, how can you, like, even, oh my gosh, yes, the guy in the White House might have showered with his daughter and given her like trauma for the rest of her life, but Trump and the porn star, like that really, okay, listen, let's talk about this. Let's just talk about it. Yes, I'm a Christian. Do I support pornography? No, I don't. Do I think it's great to go sleeping around with porn stars? No, I don't. That's wrong. Having an affair? Wrong. Lying? Wrong. Adultery? All of it? Wrong. It's all wrong. Okay? It's all wrong. But I'm not trying to find someone who is morally upstanding to fight against communism right now. I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to find it. And I've come to that resolve. Like, that's where we're at. Okay. Would I love like some incredible on fire for Jesus Christian to have that grit and gumption to go after the communists and the fascists and the people that are letting millions of people flood into our country, that God knows who they are, what they want, what their intentions are? Would I want someone like that? Yes, I would love someone like that, but that's not our option. Okay. We've got Trump. Is he a morally upstanding person? I don't know. Probably not. But that's not my concern. My concern is what I'm seeing happen to America, and I need somebody that's going to fight against it and someone that can see it. Trump sees it. He sees it. He sees the open border. He sees the mutilation of children. He sees the end of women's sports. He sees the fentanyl crisis. He sees the drug lords and on all the cartels controlling the border and controlling Mexico. He sees it. He sees what's happening with China. He sees what's happening with Ukraine. He sees what's happening with Russia. He sees what's happening with Israel and Gaza. Like, he sees it. He sees it. And none of this stuff that we see happening right now would be happening if he was president. They wouldn't. And I want that stuff stopped. So what am I going to do? I'm going to vote for the guy that's going to stop it. I'm going to back the guy that's going to stop it. Common sense. I'm not looking to hang out with Trump. I'm not looking to have a beer with him. I'm not looking to, let's hang out and be best friends. No, that's not my thing. I need the fighter. I need the fighter. And that's what I'm going after. That's what I'm backing. I'm just being real. That's where I'm at. And if we don't stop it, can you imagine a continued open border, what that looks like? I think they're estimating like 13 to 16 million people. You think all of those people are good people? There's information right now of terrorist cell activity in Texas. God knows what these people have planned. Can you imagine doubling that? We got 26 million, Do you care about your kids? Do you care about the future of America? Do you care? Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to light it all on fire and you hate it and you want us to become a third world country. Maybe that's what you want. But I don't. And I'm going to back the person that doesn't either. And if you have not witnessed what's happened to this country over the last 4 years, you are asleep, or you're being gaslit, or you're not paying attention. That's the truth. You're not paying attention. Or you're letting hate fill your heart. And the problem is, when you let hate fill your heart, you get deceived. Hate for anybody, hate for anything will cause deception. Because when you hate someone, you carry offense. And once you're offended, then anyone and anything can come in and tell you something to deceive you. And then you start to believe the lie. And then once you're walking in deception, it's hard to get a hold of you. And a lot of Americans are deceived. A lot of Americans. But if you just look up, and I know it's difficult to do it. I know people that I don't even watch the news anymore. I can't, I don't want to, but you got to. You got grandkids? You got children? What about them? Do I want my daughters who are volleyball players, do I want them to be able to compete in sports without some dude walking in and taking them all out? Yeah, I want my daughters to have a shot. I want my kids to have a shot. So to answer the whole porn star thing, and I don't know what happened there. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what happened. What's so insane too about this whole thing is the jurors didn't have to agree, you guys. Like, I've never even heard of this. Usually you have to have a unanimous, all agree, right? The jurors all had to agree. And if one of the jurors didn't agree, then you have a hung jury. The judge was like, nah, let's scrap that too. Just a few of you guys can agree on that. And a few guys can agree on that. And I'll consider it unanimous. That's what happened. That's crazy. And I want to show a couple slides because I do like J.K. Rowling. I do. I disagree with her on a lot of politics, but I do like how she's standing up for women. She's getting a lot of heat for it. And she doesn't like Trump. Okay? She doesn't like Trump. Okay. A lot of people don't like Trump. I get it. Okay. It's not about Trump. This is so much bigger than Trump. Like, that's what, and if all you see is Trump, you're missing it too. Like, if it's all Trump to you, then you're missing it. Like, you can't see it. You can't see it. So this, I thought was interesting. So Elon Musk, gosh, I can't even read this. It's so small. Can you guys read it? So Elon Musk says, indeed, great damage was done today to the public's faith in the American legal system. If a former president can be criminally convicted over such a trivial manner, remember, this was 9 years old, guys, okay, motivated by politics rather than justice, then anyone is at risk of a similar fate. And then J.K. Rowling jumps in. She goes, I deleted my previous tweet because I was rightly corrected. Previous criminal tax fraud convictions were about Trump's companies, not Trump himself. I still struggle to see why it's a trivial matter if a billionaire falsifies their business records, though whatever the context. Okay. Now this is something that I have to hear. So then, Will Chamberlain, who I do like, he's a lawyer, jumps in and he writes below this to J.K. Rowling, and he says, it's not remotely clear that A, the records were false, or that B, Trump knew anything about the attempt to falsify them. It's not obvious how to classify an NDA. And I signed an NDA. I worked for, I'll tell you in a second, a very high up celebrity. So NDAs are very confusing, okay? Classify on NDA expense. And the idea that Trump who was president at the time of the alleged falsification, was paying attention to how expenses were being recorded in drop-down menus on accounting software strains belief. So let's just think about this for a second. When you're really, really wealthy, I worked for a very wealthy celebrity worth hundreds of millions of dollars, okay? This celebrity had no idea, zero clue what was happening financially, okay? I will tell you, they were clueless on what their accountants were doing, what checks were being written, all of it. They had no idea. They had no idea. And so I like how Will points this out because it's very true. When you're a billionaire, you've got people handling everything for you, right? You're not up in the weeds looking at every single receipt. And so it's kind of humorous to think like he's sitting there double checking everything when you're a billionaire. You're not. Okay. So there was no proof that Trump even knew any of this took place. And yet they still found him guilty. No proof was provided. Remember that. This is the first time that falsification was charged for records that were not expected to be seen outside the organization. Falsification is normally charged alongside fraud cases where the falsification is in a service of, say, getting a bank to issue a loan. It wouldn't otherwise issue. Here, there was no fraud. No one was relying on these records. There was no victim. And that's what, let's watch this one. So let's remember this. He was convicted and there was no crime. I mean, there was no victim. Like no one is now like, oh, thank goodness they got him. Like no victim in all of this either. Okay. And then he says, again, I think you're the victim of jailman amnesia here. You are reading the media. So this woman, J.K. Rowling, who I do like, is believing what the media is telling them when they tell you that this New York prosecution is legitimate. That same media tells everyone else that you are a transphobe. Like, but see, the problem is there's people like J.K. Rowling that they've been so wrapped up in Trump, they've been so like brainwashed with Trump that they can't see it, right? They can't see it. This was complete lawfare, total political. It's all political. All of this was political, and to go after Trump, to take him down as the Biden administration political opponent. That's what this was about. That's it. No victim. And there was no actually underlying crime committed. They can't even say what it was. And this is what's so wild to me. Okay, so with FEC, Federal Election Commission, like when you're running a campaign, you can pay stuff out of your FEC, like that's like your own election campaign account. And you can write stuff off and use it for your campaign, right? Then you have your own private checking account over here that has nothing to do with your campaign. Well, what Trump got in trouble for, okay, he got in trouble, and this is what they convicted him on, what we think, because there's no underlying crime, is that he didn't use his campaign money to document and say that he paid off Stormy for, to be quiet, right? He didn't use that. Instead, he used his private account, and he's saying, and that he didn't even know about it. That's what Michael Cohen paid her off with his private account. Now, let's just think about this. Let's say Trump said, you know what? This is going to help my election, even though this was all done after the election was over. This is going to help my election. I'm going to use my campaign account to pay off Stormy. The FEC would have come along and would have been like, you can't pay off prostitutes or porn stars with campaign finances. So it was a lose-lose. It was a lose-lose either way. And Trump didn't even know about it. That's what he's saying. And there's no proof provided that he did know about it. So it's like hands are tied. That's what they did. So here we are, guys. Here we are. What else do I have? So, but I do want to say this as we start to wrap up here, because I'm at 30 minutes and it's just one kind of topic. I believe that they want to get some kind of false flag thing happening here. Some some crazy MAGA person or like someone dressed up as a MAGA person, as we've seen done before, commit some kind of crime or do something crazy, so they can get this. They want pandemonium. They want chaos. They want unrest. These people thrive on that. And I believe that they want to eventually, possibly, then you can implement martial law and you can take control. It's all about control, or, uh, just be aware of that. Okay. Don't do anything stupid. Be smarter than these people. Okay. Keep it cool and talk to people about what happened. Talk to people about what happened and then ask them this, because the focus actually shouldn't even be on Trump. The focus needs to be, as we head into this election, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That's what you need to be asking people. Is your bank account better off now than it was 4 years ago? Are groceries better off now than they were 4 years ago? Are gas prices better off now than they were 4 years ago? Is the world better off now than it was 4 years ago? Is Israel, is Gaza, is Ukraine, is Russia, it's Taiwan? Are all of these places better off now than they were 4 years ago? Are your girls in sports better off now than they were 4 years ago? Are babies in the womb better off now than they were 4 years ago? Is our religious liberty better off now than it was 4 years ago? Is our right to free speech better off now than it was 4 years ago? The answer to all of that is no. 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 And that needs to be the focus. Because when you have communists running the show, when you have tyrants and dictators running the show, your life goes to crap. It just does. It's not better off. And if you think it is, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. Because it's not. Are Americans safer now than they were 4 years ago? No. Is our border more secure now than it was 4 years ago? We vote on policy. That's why we vote. We don't vote on personality. We don't vote on popularity. We vote on policy. The policies that have been implemented and put into place right now are destroying this nation. They're destroying your children's future. They're destroying your grandkids' future. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. So when you start to talk to people, ask them that. Are you better off now? And go through it just like I did. What is better? Honestly, to the trolls on here, you tell me what's better. What's better? Nothing. Nothing is better. People are just existing right now. You talk to people, they're just getting by. They're just begging that they don't get laid off. They're trying to find work. They're sitting with broken things around their house because they can't afford to fix them. They're driving old cars that they can't afford to fix. You talk to your average American and they're struggling. It's not better now. So yeah, I'm going to get the guy that's going to fight against all of this junk that we've seen over the last 4 years that's destroying our country. And it's, oh, he's not perfect. No, he's not. Nobody is. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for someone that's going to fight. That's where I'm at. And if you're paying attention, you should be in a very somber place today at what happened yesterday. Because I now no longer trust our justice system. Zero faith in the justice system. It's so it's so infiltrated by activist judges. I don't trust our medical system. I don't trust our educational system. I don't trust any of it. But what you can't do is just fold your hands and put your head down and bury it and pretend like nothing's happening. Because if you care at all about your kids or your grandchildren or the future of this country, you have to get engaged. You do it in a peaceful manner. You do it in love because you love this country. And don't get crazy. Don't do anything. They're going to try to get you, man. Just like they did in 2021, right? They're going to try to don't bite, stay calm, be chill, but speak the truth. Speak the truth and pray for this country, man. Pray for it. Pray for it. But I do, like I started at the top of this. God is sovereign, right? He's outside of time. He sees it all. He knows what's going to happen on November 5th. He's got it. And that gives me such incredible peace because I trust him. I trust that his plan ultimately comes to fruition. I do believe that. And the story in the end of it all ends well. And we're in the thick of it right now. We're in a very interesting time in history. But we occupy, right? That's what I'm always talking about. We occupy until he comes. That's what we do. You occupy. You speak the truth. You're a light. You're honest. You're kind. You walk in the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, temperance, long suffering. That is what you do. And you speak the truth to those that will hear it. There's some I've just stopped. Not going to engage. Don't cast your pearls before swine. Don't. I got trolls up on me all over Twitter. I'm not going to respond to you. I don't got time for you. I'm going to engage with people that are like, I kind of see something's happening here. I was kind of, but now I'm starting to see it. Those are the people you talk to. Those are the people you engage. All right, you guys. But don't lose heart. Never lose heart. Keep the faith. I mean, it does end well. Like, I promise you that. I have complete confidence in God's word. I have complete confidence in the word of God and what is spoken in it. It's in my heart. I totally have peace in that because I know that good prevails, God prevails, truth prevails, goodness prevails, righteousness prevails, and justice prevails. I was on the phone with my mom, and I said yesterday, well, all these people are cheering, right? They're all cheering and they're like, yeah, we got him. And I was like, I kind of feel bad for them because they haven't read Revelation, obviously. And anyone that is cheering in this time doesn't have a personal relationship with Jesus. You can't support mutilation of children and be walking closely with the Father. Like, you just can't. You can't support infanticide and be walking closely with the Father. And the people that are not walking closely with Jesus and have a personal relationship with him do face ultimate wrath, the wrath of God. And I would not want that or wish that on anyone, including those people cheering. I wouldn't wish it on them. There's this part in Revelation where one of the angels is about to pour out like another bowl of wrath on those that have just completely rejected God. And he looks at God and he says, you're righteous. I need to find the verse, but like, you're holy, you're righteous. And in order for God to be righteous, there has to be judgment. There has to be justice. And judgment comes. It comes. And I would never want that on all of these people that that are cheering right now because it's so heavy. It's so dark. It's so painful. And my hope is those people come to Jesus. Those people start to see it. Those people have some kind of conviction. That's what we need. You need conviction, because once you get convicted and you're like, oh, this is wrong, or oh, this doesn't feel right, or maybe I was wrong. Maybe, once you have that, then you're led to repentance. And once you repent, then the truth can start to fill you. And once the truth starts to fill you, then you see it. You see all of it. You see God's greater hand at play. You see what's really happening. You see all the moving parts. And then you just think, wow, God, you've got it. You've got it. I'm trusting in you. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Oh, I love that verse. Herman Guild on YouTube. What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul? So true. It always comes back to your soul. None of this lasts forever, guys. None of it. None of it does. Don't get caught up in the material stuff. None of it. It's all just vapor, gone. This is so temporary. Your soul is eternal. But the choices you're making right now will impact your eternal soul. So check yourself, right? Make sure you're right with God. Make sure you're walking with him. Make sure you're spending time in his word. Make sure you know his word. Make sure you have that personal relationship with Jesus. I know I've mentioned this before, but I believe it was Elijah. I think it was Elijah or Elisha. I get the two mixed up, I know. But I think it was Elijah. And he's crying out to God in I don't know where it was. It might have been End of Kings. But he's crying out to God at one point because this boy that he had previously helped, this boy and his mother, he dies, okay? And Elijah is like crying out to God. He's like, how did you let this happen? Like, why? And he's crying out. And the Bible says that God heard the voice of Elijah. And in order for God to know someone's voice, he has to spend time with you. I want him to know my voice. I want him to be like, oh, that's Rachel. That's Rachel. I want him to know my voice. Just like he knew Elijah's voice. You want him to know your voice. And that comes when you spend time with him, when you pray, when you talk, when you walk, when you pour out your heart to him and he's able to pour into you. And that's just so important. Anyways. All right, you guys. Keep the faith. Don't lose heart. I know it's like, but like I said, I trust God. I trust him in all of this. That doesn't mean you're complacent. That doesn't mean you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do anything. No, you occupy. You occupy. You occupy what God has given you. Right? Well, have a wonderful weekend. Do have a wonderful weekend. In the midst of all this, spend time with the people that you love. Speak the truth. And make disciples. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Make disciples. Make disciples. All right, you guys. God bless you. A shout out to my Patreon supporters. I just saw Brett on here. Brett's one of my Patreon supporters. Hey, Brett. If you'd like to support me, because this is, like I said, it's not better off now than it was 4 years ago. So I do need that support. I do need people continuing to support what I do. So I just dropped my Patreon in the link if you want to support me there. Also on Facebook, you can support. But I'm thankful for you all. God bless you all. Hey, Ed. I believe Ed's a supporter on Facebook. But either way, Ed has been with me forever. I think you were one of my first followers years ago, Ed. Yeah, that really helps me out. It does. It's an encouragement and it keeps me going. So, all right, you guys, God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.